And welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into what is literally the ultimate fitness cheat code. Let's just jump right in because, honestly, it's a situation almost everyone who hits the gym has experienced at least once. Picture this, right? Your biceps are finally popping, you catch your reflection in the gym mirror and your pump looks absolutely insane, you feel like an absolute titan, but then you hit the locker room, you throw on a regular t-shirt, and suddenly you look like you've never lifted a day in your life. It is a painful reality. You can have a solid chest, sharp abs, and great biceps, but if your forearms are lacking, it's kind of game over for your everyday aesthetic.
So, this is the core problem we're tackling today. The legendary sleeveless pump versus the dreaded t-shirt noodle arms. Thick forearms are the real fitness cheat code because they bypass this issue entirely. Just like a thick neck, your forearms are pretty much always visible. When you grow them, they instantly scream power, even right through a standard t-shirt. And here's the crazy part. Even if the rest of your arms aren't massive yet, well-built forearms create this optical illusion that makes your entire arm look significantly thicker and more developed. It's wild.
Section 1. The ultimate fitness cheat code, and exactly why forearms are mandatory.
Now, we aren't just talking about aesthetics here, though. Let's be honest, that is a huge part of it. We're unpacking 3 undeniable benefits that will totally transform your workouts. First, like we just said, they are always visible. And here's a fantastic bonus. The forearm is one of the rare muscle groups where veins show up fast. You don't even need to be completely shredded. Train them right, and those veins will pop like road maps. Second, your forearms are the critical bridge for your strength. Imagine you're mid-set, absolutely destroying a heavy back workout. Boom, your forearms catch on fire, your grip dies, and the heavy barbell starts slipping out of your hands like a wet fish. You can have monster back muscles, but your set is completely over the second your grip dies. Stronger forearms give you a stronger grip, meaning your pull-ups, deadlifts, and rows all instantly improve. And finally, training them actively prevents elbow pain.
Speaking of pain, you've likely heard these lovely names, tennis elbow and golfer's elbow. You know that sharp, annoying sting you get when you do curls or heavy bench press? Yeah, it's probably not just fatigue. It usually stems from an imbalance that ruins way too many workouts. Tennis elbow means the muscles that flex your wrists are weak, while golfer's elbow points to weak extensors. Look, no need to pick sides here, both are equally awful. But the fantastic news is that by slowly adding targeted forearm exercises, you can balance these muscles right out. Your elbows will actually stop screaming every time you touch a dumbbell. Moving right along to Section 2, Anatomy and Genetics, the somewhat unfair truth about bone length.
All right, let's get brutally honest for a second. When it comes to the way your forearms actually look, genetics play a massive, undeniable role. Very similar to your calf muscles, actually. Some people were just simply born with forearms that look like they've been gripping Thor's hammer since birth. And this mostly comes down to bone length and muscle insertions, where your muscles attach to the bone. If you have long muscle bellies, well, congratulations. You've basically won the forearm lottery. Your muscles have way more physical room to grow, giving you that thick, full look super easily. Now, if you have short muscle bellies, the gains just won't pop as much visually. It feels totally unfair, I know, but hold on. Don't throw your dumbbells across the room just yet. Having short muscle bellies doesn't mean you can't grow them, it just means your progress will manifest as incredibly defined, veiny, and strong arms, rather than just sheer bulky mass.
So here is our core philosophy moving forward. Genetics absolutely set the limits, sure, but your consistency is what decides how close you actually get to those limits. It's time for some tough love, guys. Stop blaming your DNA and start blaming your skipped sets. We are pivoting away from the excuses right now and moving straight into the actionable solutions.
Which brings us to Section 3, the best forearm exercises, building the squad.
See, your forearm isn't just one big muscle, it's an entire squad. And to build them effectively, without spending like 3 extra hours at the gym, we need to target their 3 main jobs: elbow flexion, wrist flexion and extension, and finally, grip strength. But here's the secret. If you're chasing aesthetics and you really want that thick, powerful arm look, an incredible 90% of your visual forearm gains are going to come from one single muscle called the brachioradialis. It sits right on the top part of your forearm, super close to your elbow. This guy is the star of the show. So many lifters spend months doing standard wrist curls with zero visual growth because those flexor muscles just don't have high hypertrophy potential. But the brachioradialis? Oh, it absolutely does.
So how do we actually target the star of the show? Well, you've got to use neutral or pronated grips. First up, we have hammer curls. Using a neutral grip, that's where your palms face each other. This is your standard, highly effective go-to move. But the real MVP? The reverse curl. Using a pronated or overhand grip hits the brachioradialis incredibly hard, but it also works your wrist extensors at the exact same time. This is a super underrated exercise that simultaneously builds visual size and promotes healthy, pain-free elbows. It's a total win-win.
Next up, we need to address the second team of the squad, the wrist flexors and extensors. Now, these aren't going to make your arms look massive, but they are the absolute key to saving your elbows. The ultimate tool here is the wrist roller. To master this without completely frying your shoulders before you even feel it in your arms, step 1, keep your elbows slightly bent and tucked close to your body. Seriously, don't hold the roller straight out in front of you like you're trying to fly. Step 2, roll upward to hit the extensors. And step 3, roll downward to hit the flexors. It is simple, it's controlled, and it's incredibly effective.
And the final piece of the forearm puzzle? That's your grip. This targets the deep muscles controlling your fingers and hand. Remember, a stronger grip equals stronger lifts, and stronger lifts equal way more overall gains. You basically have 3 main grip optimization tools to choose from. First, classic grippers. You know, those little spring-loaded hand crushers you can literally use anywhere, even sitting at your desk. Then, there are fat grips. These are thick, rubber sleeves you wrap right around a barbell. They make the bar so much harder to hold, turning every single rep of your back workout into a grip workout on autopilot. And finally, the rice bucket.
Okay, I literally love the rice bucket method, so let's dive into this one. It sounds totally weird, I know, but it is deeply respected in strength communities. You just fill a standard bucket with uncooked rice. Then, you dip your hands in deeply, like you're searching for buried treasure. Once your hands are totally submerged, you aggressively twist, claw, squeeze, open, and move them in every possible direction against the resistance of the rice. Let me tell you, it burns like crazy, but it builds absolute, insane, unbreakable grip and wrist strengths.
All right, Section 4, your forearm workout blueprint, where we put it all together.
I promised you a simple, highly effective routine that won't require turning your gym session into a full-time job. And here it is, your highly screenshotable blueprint. For your first workout, start with hammer curls. You're going to do 4 sets of 10 to 20 reps to hit that brachioradialis for that dense 3D look. Then, move over to a wrist roller. Do 3 sets rolling up for the extensors and 3 sets rolling down for the flexors. Finally, finish off with your grip work using either the grippers or our trusty rice bucket. Now, for your next forearm workout later in the week, you just follow this exact same blueprint, but simply swap the hammer curls for reverse curls. Boom! 2 distinct, fully comprehensive workouts that cover every single muscle fiber.
Now, as for frequency, you want to aim for 2 to 4 times a week. Start simple by hitting your forearms twice a week just to get your body used to the workload. But if your recovery is solid, you can actually crank this up to 3 or even 4 times per week. Does that sound like total overkill? It actually isn't. Your forearms recover incredibly fast compared to almost any other muscle group, and they can handle this high frequency beautifully.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this powerful quote right from our source material. Genetics set the limits, but your consistency decides how close you get to them. Think about that. You now have the anatomical knowledge, you know exactly which exercises target the visual muscles versus the support muscles, and you have the exact blueprint to execute it. Which brings us to a final thought. Are you ready to drop the ego lifting and finally focus on perfect form? Remember, you really don't need to go full strongman mode and throw your wrists into orbit to get results. Full range of motion, proper tension, and strict form will beat sloppy ego lifting every single time. Apply this consistency and your forearms will absolutely start stealing the spotlight the next time you roll up your sleeves. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Now go get those gains.